Do I hear, I would like to call the meeting to order at 6:02 PM. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, Celine,
Yes.
David Burl,
Yes.
David Dempsey.
Yes.
All right. Take a break for a minute. Today is Wednesday, April 21st, and the time is 6:02 PM, and we are opening the Recreation Committee meeting. As preliminary matter, this is Mike Volpone, Chair of the Newbury Recreation Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Board members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. David Brohl,
Affirmative.
David Dempsey.
Affirmative.
One second, I just want to make sure that I don't have. Okay. Sorry, just want to make sure it wasn't someone trying to call into this. Celine Moldani.
Affirmative.
Mark
Affirmative.
Sand has said he is tentative for coming tonight, so if he does, we'll recognize him when he comes to the meeting. And Alicia Greco has not responded, and I'm not sure if she's attending tonight. Employees, reps, other town attendees, if any, when I call your name, please list. There's none. Anticipated guests, if anybody shows, we can certainly talk about it. Good evening. Today is Wednesday, April 21st, an open meeting of the Newbury Recreation Committee, which is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of all of the opening meeting law to have the meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which can be found posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonably public access is afforded, so the public can follow along with deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the Newbury Recreation Committee is convening by video conference via Zoom, as posted on the Recreation Committee agenda, which can be found on the Recreation Committee page on the town's website. The agenda identifies how the public may join the meeting. This agenda can also be accessed from the website's homepage by clicking on the box that says agendas at the top of the news box. Please note this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and that take care not to screen share your computer unless you're requested to do so by me. Anything that you broadcast may be captured for the recording. Materials are provided for the board committee members prior to this meeting for review. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct for our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. For any discussion items, I, the chair, will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, and motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, anyone other than board members, please remember to mute your phone, computer when you are not speaking. Please use earbuds, earphones with tablets, and cell phones. Please remember to speak clearly in any way that helps generate accurate minutes. Take care not to screen share, to share your screen. I always do that backwards. I apologize. It's the way it's typed. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. Board members will be called upon first in name in alphabetical order to ease the process. If board members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. We're going to the first item on the agenda. All right. You have no idea how much I can't wait to actually do these in person, so I can get rid of that. You know, a list of members reading the previous minutes. So Mark sent the minutes for the last meeting, but we still don't have the minutes from the meeting before. So does anybody have any questions on the minutes? Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes that Mark posted, that emailed?
This morning, correct?
Yes.
I second that.
Okay. Any discussion? I have one problem with Mark's minutes and I will bring it up to him. He said that the additional money was only for the 4 other basketball courts. That's incorrect. The $50,000 is for the 4 other courts and the Versa court. The 4 other hoops and the Versa court. That's the difference, because the 4 extra hoops are going to cost us $10,500 and the Versa court, or $10,800, and the Versa court's going to cost us $28,500. So that plus the additional money and the contingency gets us in that ballpark, is why we asked for 50. We probably could have done it for 43, 44, but again, we wouldn't have a contingency if anything needed to be done.
He also didn't mention anything about the calendar,
Okay,
what was proposed by Lindsay and, is it Diane?
yes,
He didn't mention anything about that. I don't know if he's supposed to or not, but
he should have. That's why they were there. I appreciate you reminding me because I forgot about it too. But I will ask him to see if he can make the edits and we can do it for the next meeting. So I would like to table the vote on the minutes until our next meeting so we can get the correct adjustments done. Okay. So do I hear a vote on approving the tabling the minutes? So Celine,
yes.
Mark, David,
Yes.
David Dempsey.
Yes.
You guys are in that order on the screen, so just realize that's the order I'm going to call you tonight. Any correspondence? Other than I told you guys that, well, I did hear back from the town. They're saying that the oil bill is accurate and there hasn't been anything, but there's no issues. So
Gas
yeah,
bill, gas bill, correct?
the gas bill, whatever, yeah. Whatever the Townsend bill
Propane,
is.
It's propane, right?
I thought it was propane, which is gas.
Yeah, it's propane.
Yeah,
It's propane.
Okay. Fine. That's the only thing that we're getting, because it's like $7 a gallon now. Or whatever the measurement is, because I just had mine done and I got it through Townsend as well. So, but then I told you guys what the latest on the basketball court conversation between the town, Chris Huntress and Vermont Rec, who's been the approved person. So,
Probably repeat it so you're on record.
okay. Let me
Sorry.
Well, no, you're 100% right. Thank you. Okay, the last conversations that were held between both. Since our last meeting on Tuesday, April 6th, the legal document has been forwarded to the town council review prior to execution. Chris Huntress and the town administrator communicated back and forth, just trying to get the document moving. On yesterday, the town council proposed changes and sent it to Vermont Rec. Ben Taylor, who is our contact at Vermont Rec, responded, "Thank you for checking in. The contract form is okay. We only had a few changes. It just needs to be updated in a few places as noted. Please see attached," which was sent. The general and supplemental conditions from the RFP should also be attached. A version of the general and supplemental conditions we have are attached to this email. Once the changes are accepted and information updated, the town can proceed with having this signed. I've also attached a notice to proceed to use here once they sign and provide the insurance certificate and bonds are required. So everything is moving forward. It's just a matter of getting it done, but the bid was accepted and everybody's working towards it right now. So bills and claims, Celine, do you have anything that hasn't been signed? I mean, I saw a couple of things went by that you signed or got the checks and stuff, I think, from Triton Youth Lacrosse and someone else.
Yep, I just signed off on a couple applications and no bills.
Okay. The only business we're going to talk about is the basketball court. So, they're going to hit us with why the 50. Why do we need it? Because when I met with the select board and the finance committee, which that meeting is recorded if anybody wants to go back for posterity and just see it, and I may go back just to look to see what was said. But I did break down the fundings. I mean, the whole project from the 90,000 we got, the 19 change we got from the donations, and then the additional money that was appropriated from our account and stuff, so we could pay the balance of the to meet the minimum bid, so we could approve that. And then from there was the additional the 4 courts and the VersaCourt costs were added, and it came to like 43,000 or something like that. And I think when we add our, I'd rather be, because if this is going to be for posterity, I'd rather have it right. 128.2 just to make my life easier. Plus 10.8 plus 28.5 That's 167.5. If we add another 50,000 onto that, so we're at like 178,000. So reasonably, we could knock it down $5,000 or $6,000, but the reason why we're keeping it is the contingency in case we need it. And if we don't use it, we give it back to the town because it's only being used for those two things. And if the town doesn't vote for it, then we wait for, because one of the things early in the agenda is our $50,000 budget for next year. And if we do it, then we could just appropriate the money for the basketball hoop, the four of the hoops, which is the main thing. I want to get those things in the ground.
Yep.
So they're taken care of. And then we have to find a way to raise the money. Because I said, and everybody was asking, you guys kept saying you were going to raise money, you're going to raise money. And my response to them was, well, I can't raise money until I know I have a project actually being done. And two, we started talking about it, but then the RFP bids came in substantially higher than we expected. So yes, we do want to start raising money. And that's when the article went in the paper and we talked about it to try to see if we could generate anything. I haven't heard anything being brought up yet, but it's now just gonna be a question of going around and see what we can find. So we all need to get our tin cans out of the corner and see what we can drum up. You're all very quiet.
Complaining.
Are you doing a presentation?
I didn't plan on it.
Yeah,
I
don't think-
may put together a slide if they want it, but that's gonna be, I think where we're gonna be in that place. It's just, I'm just gonna have the numbers down saying, here's what we are. I said, anybody that's had a house built, has done any renovation work or anything in the last year knows what we're talking about. Any bid that you had, most of these numbers are now substantially increased because of the rising costs of materials. And that's the reason why we're asking. We brought in a consultant, we investigated it, he did his due diligence and looked around, contacted companies, which kills me because from what David and you and I had talked about this, based on the conversations we had with Chris Huntress back in December at the field, or November, we didn't think it was going to be anywhere near what we thought.
Yeah.
So
Is it worthwhile to present the other bids we got just to show that we're not going with the highest bid, or is that just not?
we took the lowest bid. I mean, I can give them the range. I mean, if they really
I
want
think
to
that might be a
picky,
good indicator
okay.
to give
I'll
them
throw it together.
information.
Then I'll throw some slides together so people know what it's for.
Yeah, it's all public information. They can check anytime they want on the bids to see what came in and what was, where
Yeah.
which one we ended up with.
I mean, it
I don't think
wasn't
they're gonna
announced,
check.
but
No,
I mean, this is being recorded, so let me give me a second and I'll actually, so everybody can see it. Celine, can you give me access to share this?
Sure. Does that work?
Yeah. So just so everybody's aware. Ooh, wrong one. So
That's not
these
it.
are the,
That's not it. That's work stuff.
Yeah.
no, that's not work stuff. That's just my rewriting a thing. Give me a second. All right, stop that then.
We were seeing Mercedes-Benz.
Oh. Push to this. No, it's yeah. It was April 18th, March 18th. I'll post this right here, make it easier. All right. I'll throw them over here instead, just makes it easier. So now. Just making sure we can see it easy enough. Okay. Which one are you guys seeing? I actually have them up on both sides, but
It's kind of small, but
Tiny.
all right. So you get the wrong screen. Sorry, let me share the right one again. It's supposed to have screen 3 and it doesn't, and I'm just trying to make sure. So. Okay, so this is what
Yes.
you guys see, okay. So the
Yep.
low bid is this number right here, 128,179. That's what we agreed to. And that's what we're paying right now, and it's going to Vermont Recreation. So here's the low bidder, and then this is the, after each alternate bid. The difference is the resilient tile basketball surface is the last piece, which is alternate, is down here, which in this case was 28,545 from them. The fact that we're accepting the bid here, and then we're gonna add alternate 1 and 8 to the equation.
Yep.
After the fact is why we're able to do this, because if we had accepted the bid with a number in it, we would have to accept the bid and then the alternates to get to where we wanted to, which I was kind of surprised that Chris didn't put this second instead of at number 8. I think
Yep.
that was a typo on his end, because I wouldn't have put the rail fences and all this stuff all down before that. So it was just over $5,000 cheaper than Belco Landscaping. But their bid of 40,000 was 12,000, almost $12,000 higher by adding the VersaCore down here. So if you look at the, between the two, 40 compared to 28. So that's why we took it. So the best bid, adding the two together, was this. I mean, we could have gone with Cassidy Corp and spent $463,000. I just, part of me wants to show it to people to see what.
Well,
what
that's
people
what,
actually
it would be
submitted.
nice to show them a range to, to see how ridiculous some of the bids were.
I'll put this on a slide so we can see it. I'll just say, here's the breakdown of what we're looking at, and this is it. So, I mean, they were lowest on alternate. They weren't the lowest on alternate 1, but realize the 4 hoops were 10,008. They were $800 higher than Cassidy, but Cassidy was $100,000 on the front end. So I can't say Vermont install this, Cassidy install this, and then go to Green Acres and say, yes, can you install this at $22,946 and save us $6,000?
yeah, you can't do it that way.
It's going to stay with the company, so I can't piecemeal. It would be nice, but it doesn't work that way.
Helpful.
And part of me always
What would be
wishes-
helpful is to let them know that alternative 1 and alternative 2 was part of our original plan. And we took it out and removed it with the intentions of finding out a more realistic bid. And then now that we've realized the cost of materials have gone up so much, we really need the additional money to bring them back into the project.
Yeah. We found it after the fact too. I think this alternate 2 you see here. So you see Vermont Rec, everybody was in that 6,000. This 28,545 is the exact same number as alternate 8. Because the
Yeah.
previous bid had the VersaCore as this farther up here. For some reason, it got bounced to the end. So that's why.
Okay.
It's still the cheapest bid of all of them. So
Yeah.
I will make sure this is broken down for everybody. I'm going to use the actual bid results. I'll do that, and I'll have a slide that just kind of shows. So it's almost, I don't want to put it in 3 slides, because I really don't, but it's like, if we do this, and I can get this onto one slide, then do a couple of bullets below, rising costs of materials. What else?
I think that's pretty much it, right?
I think that's really the most legitimate. It's gone up in every area, from gasoline to materials to raw materials to labor. You
Yeah,
know,
so
Cost of
I'm
living
gonna
has gone up,
use
minimum
transportation
wage.
costs and the cost of the raw materials. Between the two things have really caused the increase that we unfortunately are experiencing.
And again, when we did this, we actually thought by getting this bid in as soon as we possibly could, that we were actually going to save 30%
Yeah.
but it turned out to be just the opposite. So,
Yes.
and the other part is that if we decided to do this, to bring this bid forward in 2 months or 3 months or 4 months, it could be double the cost of what was.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Right.
And if they don't
And I-
realize that, I don't want to bring up a sore spot, but I mean, the example is just look at the fire police house or the police house.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, 4 years and all of a sudden you've tripled the price of what it was back then, or double at least what it was
Yep.
back then. So
Well,
I'm
and
gonna
I-
have one slide just to break down the cost, and the second slide is gonna show this along with the reasons for the additional money.
but that's a good response to if someone says, well, why don't we put it off until we get something else done and something else done? Then the response can be that the way that the cost of materials are going, if we wait 5 to 6 months from this, we could be talking another 75 to 80,000 instead of 50.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think it's just a good rebuttal to have that in case someone says, well, move it back. We got other things that are more important.
We have $3.2 million in free cash right now. And I know there was a couple of people put on social media talking about, we need to do more. Why are we putting additional money into this court? Why aren't we putting it into other things in the field, such as the playground, such as a canoe launch or other things? So
So the canoe launch is isn't that problematic with the, I mean, it's
I
a
plan-
coastal
I put-
waterway, right?
Yep.
It's
I
not
plan
like
on
just-
having somebody, and I think you know I'm referring to.
Yep.
I'm gonna say, do me the favor and start doing the work, because I got a sneaky feeling that canoe kayak launch is probably gonna cost somewhere in the vicinity of $100,000 to $150,000 easy, because of all the work and the permits and the fact
Yep.
dealing with the water and everything.
Yep.
But
I mean, the playground is probably gonna be the cheapest thing we add to the equation.
Yeah, and we'd love to do playground. We just have to knock things off one thing at a time. We can't just
Yep.
do everything at once. So
Where
this is where
everybody's
we
like-
are with this one, and then we'll move on to the next one.
I think that essentially the way we did this, why we decided to do the basketball court, because the basketball court can be a revenue generator.
Yes.
The playground obviously cannot be. And by doing the basketball court, we're generating revenue. And with that additional revenue, we hope to be able to pay for the playground.
I mean, and I said to them, I said, how much do you think you make? I said, well, we haven't done this before, but our goal is somewhere between $5,000 to $10,000 a year if we can do something like that, because we could have them. It's not like we have to rest the court during the seasons. Someone mentioned, well, you don't have lights on the court. Well, the soccer fields don't have it, and we probably can use the portable ones and move them over if we wanted to. I did receive an email from the town from a person that's on School Street that wanted a phone call, and I've already emailed her back and said, hi, I'm Mike Falpone, and let me know what works for you. I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it, or even if you want to, I'll meet you out at the field and I'll actually show you specifically where everything's going to be.
I think a main concern about doing lights at this point is that may open up a can of worms like it did with the baseball field behind the school, behind the library. So I think that, right now it sort of keeps it to the normal hours instead of having it, because I think that some of those neighbors, the last thing they want to hear is a ball bouncing at 9 o'clock at night. So.
Takes my evening walk out of the equation.
Yep.
I'd be the fool shooting down there at 10 o'clock at night.
Yep.
So that's the plan.
But
So
I do think the temporary lights will be sufficient if we have a league that wants, or an adult league that wants to do something early evening as the day gets shorter and shorter and they still want to have something going. I think the temporary lights are a good solution.
Now, whose lights are those? Are those our lights? Are those the town lights?
I think those are the towns. They've been down the field for the whole time. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of bringing them up and literally just position them on one side. So the light's going back towards the field instead of the other way.
Yeah.
As much as we can. So it's all gonna be, we're trying here. This is the thing that a lot of people, and if you've been around town, you've heard it more than I have probably. The town's pretty divided about a lot of things right now, and it's gonna get more contentious before it gets better, unfortunately. But we're just, for the lack of whoever listens, I said, we're 4, 5, 6, depending if you count Alicia, but we're 5 people that are volunteers, and we've been doing this, just trying to help the community. We're not making anything off this. We're giving up our own time to do it. And we're trying to help the town with something that could help, that anybody could use. It would be great if we could rent it out for certain times, but I still wanted to have availability for people to be able to use it, and hopefully develop programs for Triton, so they can actually build their program.
Yeah, I think that if this happens, which I hope and pray it does, then you will see a return on the investment as far as high school or junior high school, and then high school athletics as far as basketball, because I think that, having something in town, having kids playing there, it will be like a multiple effect. And Dave, I'm sure you know that it would be nice to have Triton youth basketball be a thing, or Triton basketball to be a powerhouse. So I think it would be a good start.
Well, I think the other thing that the cost to rent the gym and run programs and run camps and summer camps and camps during vacation, to run a gym and pay for the custodians and all that is outrageous. So this is a good alternative for a basketball coach, middle school basketball coach, to do a good developmental skills camp and have a nice surface and have good hoops, and it allow them to do it anytime during the year once the weather gets warm enough, and not have a major expense equivalent to what it would cost to rent a gym. So I think it's a good alternative.
Do we know what other communities charge? That will be a question.
Does someone have the time to go look at it? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't right now. I've been between splitting it on this and everything going on. I am way too thin on any time of availability. I literally just came out of another meeting for this, and I'm working around it and dealing with a couple of family things.
With the restaurant opening, I can try to make a phone call over to Salem and see what they get for Palmer Park and places like that, and see what they do.
Yeah. If we all grabbed one area, I don't think Newburyport charges for Cashman, so that's kind of, you don't have to worry about that. Because they use the school, but they also use the courts outside the Knock Middle. They have Cashman, and that's it. Maybe at Perkins. I haven't looked it over there. I don't know what Amesbury has, because I'm pretty sure they use the school as well, the outdoor courts at the school.
Yeah.
I know Hamilton Wenham used to have a league years ago, but it's just a question of seeing what there. But I'll try to make a couple of calls, but if anybody else, it would be greatly appreciated just so we can find out.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get a hold of somebody over in Salem.
Okay. Try to get the information. I know it's gonna be tough, but if you can do it before the weekend, just so we can figure out, we need to know before Tuesday.
Yep. All right.
Just make sure we gather back up and get the numbers together. So I will put together the slides and have them to you guys, so we can look at them and just make sure we're all on the same page before Sunday. So you can at least, we'll have 2 days to make any edits if we need to, then have them all ready to go. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Just writing it down.
Anything else? Anybody else have anything else? Comments, ideas, plans? Because if not, that's it. That's all we had for tonight. So we wanted to make sure we were on the same page and just talk it up and get as many people to this meeting as you can. We're going to need everybody to help us.
Just a brief one. Again, I went by the fields twice during the weekend, and one day there were one day there was just one team playing on the field at 1 something in the afternoon. Another day I went by and there were 2 fields being used out of all of them. So
you got to realize those fields are reserved from 9 in the morning until 6 or 7 at night. Every single field, all weekend long. So
clearly we're not
is
charging enough.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're not trying
I don't want to charge the little kids. I don't mean to sound.
No, but it's like,
the
if
whole
you
point
have
was
enough
to
money to
kind
do
of
it.
have accountability to your time, and it's not.
it's something we can talk about at the next meeting. I'll make sure I get it on the agenda so we can get a little more details and just kind of see. So I'm gonna try and see if I can put the schedule together and get it out so everybody knows who should be on the field at what times. And then we can maybe see, okay, who's not here. Because I
Yep.
really will be disappointed if it's the Triton programs that aren't showing up. Because you guys were talking about not making it cost effective, and here you are, you reserved all these fields and didn't use them.
Yep.
So, but other than that, I think we're done.
Okay.
Just to make sure everybody's got their chance to say, and we're all on the same page for this for Tuesday. I do plan on I've already reached out to Triton Youth Basketball and asked them to see if they can get the word out. I will do it again, just to remind everybody saying, hey, just remember the town meeting's on Tuesday. Article 21 is for please support the article for the money for the basketball court. We need all the help we can so we can make, I don't want this just to be something slapped up there, because what's the point? 2 hoops is, I mean,
Right.
we'll get the other 4 at some point, right after the year, depending how we can do it. But we also throw anything else in there. We already know what we spend in a year. So it'd be nice to have these capital projects off our books so we can actually do something. But we are doing something too.
Well, and I think the other thing is the completion of this allows us to move on to something else. I mean, if they're all talking about playgrounds and other things that they think that we should be looking into. And if we can just say, we're going one step at a time, and once we complete this, and then we can move on to our next project. And it's just, I think everybody wants a little bit something different, but they just have to, it's almost like saying this is our first big project, and we think it's going to make a big difference, and we're going to move forward to look at others as we go.
So I was just, before we go, Beverly has their prices on for courts / fields. And they have looks like 5 different tiers. And basically, it's Beverly people, Beverly groups and stuff like that. But non-Beverly groups, again, tier 3 is, I don't want to bore you guys with this stuff, but
No, it's what we're looking for.
Tier 3 must have 50% or greater Beverly residents. So, and if that's, it's like a private group, that 50%, that's $25 an hour. And the private groups are $40 an hour. So,
Is that for a
nonprofit-
basketball court or is that for a field?
they are under field / courts. So it would be courts too.
Is that
So-
so? And when we're looking at our 6th court, is that like the 2 short ways, or is that the whole?
No,
court
I think it'd be
area?
the whole court. So 40.
That's
bucks
my
an hour.
biggest concern, because if someone wanted to rent that for $25 an hour, you rent it for 8 hours one day and 8 hours the next. So in essence, you spent $400 renting that thing for a weekend, and they could clean up and have a whole tournament done in a weekend
Yeah.
easily,
Yeah.
and make $5,000-6,000 probably, charging
Yep.
teams and having them going, whether you do a 3-on-3 tournament and have each hoop going, or thereabouts, or you have 2 games going constantly on the end. And I mean, Dave, you know this as well as I do. I mean, how many games can you get in a weekend?
Well, you can get a ton in. I mean, you can do
30,
go to-
30, 35, easy?
Yeah, or you go to AAU basketball leagues and they're doing 4 to 6 games, and they're doing 25-minute, 30-minute games, and they're getting a ton in. I mean, in a weekend, they can do up to 40 games. Yeah.
On
And
the
so
bigger
in
court,
each-
right?
No,
Yeah.
well, if you use, they're probably using like a lot of the gymnasiums, field house. So if they had 3 or 4 courts going, where if we had 2 going, and we had all 6 hoops going up in the 2 shorter versions, you have 2 games going an hour. 8
That's for
games,
little
it's-
kids, right?
Oh, no,
Oh, no.
Yeah.
easily.
It would be
You
like
can
3 on
easily
3 or
have them
something.
going.
Yeah.
You're
Yep.
still talking about regular, I mean, it's not full regulation size, but I think realistically, you could still get in 8 games in each court in a day.
Yeah.
And they run for 45 minutes, 2 25-minute, 2 20-minute halves, a 5-minute break in the middle. And then the 15 minutes changeover unless you have OT. 8 games each court, an hour. That's
And then
16, 32 games in a weekend.
what they do too is if they're running the small courts, then once they get down to like, if they're running a bracket tournament,
Yeah.
once they get down
Then
to
they
the
can do the
final
full
eight,
court.
then they'll play their last final 8 games, that, final 8 teams, they'll play their last 4 games in a full court. So it's like, but they'll use the smaller courts to just build up and work down their brackets. That's what they'll do.
But 30, you could get realistically 28 to 32 games in a weekend in 16 hours. The town gets $40 an hour. I mean, or $25 an hour. So it's $400 in the weekend you're getting, and they're going to rake in probably with, I mean, how many teams you're talking? 16?
Yeah.
$200 a piece.
Or even
$3,200. You're netting a couple $1,000 for a weekend.
even the camps or the clinics, if you could, in the summertime, on a 1-week clinic, on a 5-day clinic, if you do 3 hours a day, that's 15 hours. So when you look at it at $25 an hour, I mean, that's still, that would cost a coach to do it in an indoor gymnasium, cost them a couple of $1,000.
Oh,
I mean,
easily.
now you're talking about coming to an outdoor, court, and you're getting the same type of service, same type of basket, same type of, same size, everything. And so you're doing it for probably about $450.
Yeah,
So
and I think that our costs can be actually higher if we end up getting this Versa course, because that's B for basic basketball courts, the asphalt course that they have in Beverly.
Yeah.
They don't have.
We're investing in this area. So hopefully it'll bring more in, and people will realize this isn't chump change. This is a good solid court that's going to be a good thing to play on, which is what we've been advertising.
So just to throw out a little devil's advocate here, this was part of the argument for doing the field house, which we have not been able to do because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if that's kind of thrown out there, and it's justifiable.
Oh,
Right.
I have no problems. The difference is,
We didn't do what we intended to do with the field house, and we have to regroup on that, but that I would put on COVID for sure.
oh yeah, and it's already easy. It's to open the field house for full days. It would cost us more
The
in
cleaning.
maintaining it,
Yeah.
maintaining just the cleanliness of the field house than it was our entire budget for the year to do anything else. We literally couldn't do anything more than that because we'd have somebody constantly cleaning that thing every hour.
Yep.
And it's
Okay.
$75 an hour for everything going through. I said, we already figured out it would be over $52,000 just in the cleaning of that facility, when our expenses each year are $36,000.
Well, and I think the other thing that you can also offer the basketball courts with the access of the field house as well, too. So you can actually add an extra charge for the field house in case they want to run a concession stand or they want to do, whatever.
Mhm.
So that's an opportunity to say you can rent it with the field only, or you can rent it with the field houses, the court only, or you can rent it with the field house to go along with it. So,
I mean, it is what it is, because they can easily set up tables along the side
Sure.
and sell what they want to, which,
Right.
I mean, these are questions that we need, but right now it's like, which ball are we going to keep in the air right now and try to keep working through?
Yep.
So let's see how we do tomorrow, but Celine, that is a good idea. I mean, it is tough because I know everybody keeps going back and saying you spent $500,000 in that field house and it's never been used. I said, well, unfortunately, no one ever predicted COVID. And by the time we literally finished it, got the COI and winter season hit, and COVID came in right after it.
Right.
I mean, we got the COI in November of 19. COVID hit March of 20.
Well, we also went 6 months without our schools being used either. So, I mean, look at the expense that cost us.
Oh, yeah.
Our schools were empty for almost going on 6 months. So COVID has really thrown a monkey wrench into everybody's ability to use facilities.
People can throw stones, but you just remember there's a lot of things that are going on that a lot of different places are seeing. And if they can't understand it, they just don't want it.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because there are going to be people that just don't want it.
Right.
And we just got to hope we bring enough people in so we can get the last of this done. From what I heard from militia, it's a majority vote. It's not a 2/3.
Okay.
So, but like I said, bring as many people as you can. My daughter can't get back from school, but the other ones are coming, and my son didn't get registered in time, so he couldn't get it either. So, but I'm bringing 5 with me. So I'm trying to get anybody we can just get there to get ready to vote. So plan on being there a little bit before 7, just make sure we're there. Okay.
Yep.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
So where are we on the agenda, did you say? We're towards the end, correct?
We're number 21
Out of
for
how many?
Article 21 out of 20. Give me a second.
Yeah, I just saw it today. I think there's 28.
It's Finance Committee booklet. So we're Article 21. And the bylaw changes that they have started right after us. So we're the last thing on the business portion, really. After that, it's all bylaw changes and how they want to make some changes to it. But
That's probably not a bad thing.
Being last can be a good thing or a bad thing.
here's a booklet right here. So, I mean, the positions here. If you look at the votes, I mean, 5060, 5070, 5070. First one here with any contention. Adding $95,000 to the television reserve cable thing. Another one here summing up almost $6,500 for a town hall project. Another one for a town hall project. Those are three so far, and then ours was a 3-1 because Geraldine Heavey was not at the meeting.
She was what?
Oh, I didn't share this. I'm sorry. I thought I had. Geraldine Heavey wasn't at the meeting, at the select board meeting last week that meeting when I talked to them to get them to approve this.
Okay. Okay. So
But
someone
there's only-
voted against, someone
Yeah.
voted against it?
Yes.
Okay.
Mike Doyle was the only one that didn't vote in favor of it. The other three did.
Okay.
So it's just gonna be a question of what we can get and hope it works out. So stay positive and like I said, bring as many as you can. The more the merrier.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion to close the meeting at 6:44?
I'll make a
Motion
motion to
closed.
close the meeting at
Oh,
6.
well, sorry. We get a schedule on next one. I always do that. I go backwards.
Calendar.
So we have the meeting on Tuesday. And then the question is, what do you want to do? I mean, we've been meeting every 2 weeks for a while now, and it really, personally, I'm a little burnt. I don't know about you guys.
I'm burnt. If there's
Um,
nothing to meet for, let's just do it in a month.
So you want to go first week of June, take the month of May off?
That
Sounds good to me.
Because it's tough because the last Monday of the month is the 31st. So the first meeting we could do in June would then be June 7th. So you're talking about being off for 5.5, almost 6 weeks.
I'm good with that.
Do we have
don't
anything
know.
coming up for the summer that we should address?
The only thing we're gonna have is the application for Rush, which we've tentatively accepted because we couldn't do it until May 1st.
So I think we can always just, throw in an extra meeting if we think we need it, but let's just schedule it for the 7th.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's like if we didn't do it the 7th, you're talking the 24th.
We might actually, by the 7th, we may even be meeting in person. Who knows?
Because, yeah, well, I think they're talking July before we see anything. Everybody keeps
really?
showing July 1 as a date out. But if we don't get the money, then it's a question, do we want to raise the money for the additional, we'll use the hoop, we have to raise an additional $30,000 to get the VersaCord added in. That'll be what the project's gonna be, so.
Yep.
And then we can decide from there. Also, it's that time of the year, our terms end at the end of June. So between the re-upping your conflict of interest thing, have that in the back of your mind too. I certainly would love to have you all back as I'm still on the fence, but Tuesday will kind of give us an idea. All right, so let's plan on June 7th then.
Okay.
Awesome.
Get my time to change, 6 PM.
Yep. 6 to 7:30. And we'll get it in. If we need something sooner, I'll email and we'll try to shoot for the 24th. It's just, it gives us 1, 2, 3. It gives us 4 weeks off if we had to meet on the 24th. But still, it'd be nice to kind of take a break, and we still gotta make sure we got our stuff done. Because I mean, the people are on the fields. Unless something comes in, everybody's back to normal as much as we can be.
Yep.
All right. Now, do I hear a motion to adjourn at 6:47 PM?
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 6:47 PM.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All is in favor? Celine,
Yes.
David Bro,
Yes.
David Dempsey.
Yes.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening.
You guys.
You too.
See you on
Thank you.
Tuesday.
Have a good
All
night.
right, bye.
Bye now.